Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about how we manage our budget on one income. It's not easy these days with inflation and all of the other expenses that people are accruing. And with two incomes, many people find it difficult. And with one income, it's not an exception. It's still difficult, but we've been managing. And so far, we have not been in debt. We do not have any credit cards that have outstanding debts. We only use them to pay off every month, 100%. So we just figure that we can't do it with debt. It's too expensive to pay interest on credit cards. So we just really try to manage our money as it is, even on one income. So one of the problems we've all experienced lately is inflation. I go to the grocery store and things just always cost more, quite a bit more than they used to just a year or two ago. And that's a reality we're facing. So I started thinking, well, what can I do to manage my budget and to keep things in our budget and doing well? So one of the first things that we've cut back is housing. Housing can be one of our biggest expenses, and it's just two of us. We don't need anything large. So we've really kept housing small. And we also found some ways to assist our budget by finding caretaking opportunities where we were living on the property and we would cut the trees and water the trees and take care of the property in exchange for a rent. So that was a good situation that lasted for a while. And then when that property sold, we moved on. But then we found another opportunity to be watching out for an older lady who needed someone to check on her and check her mail. Nothing major, just a little bit of assistance, and that saved us some money on rent. So housing was one way that we tried to cut back. And right now we're trying to live in a very small space, and that saves us money. Housing, they say, could be up to 1/3 of your income. But with housing prices having gone up so much lately, that leaves us right at the edge of the margin. And really, if we can do better than that, it helps us save more. So then we can put more aside. We've been building up our 6-month emergency fund. That way, if we had some major expense, we'll have some savings that could cover it. Because we just don't want to go in debt. We need to be out of debt. We can't afford the high interest rates on the credit cards. So one of the other ways to pay attention to your budget is gas expense. And there was a time for a while, quite a few years, that my husband's job was far from home, and therefore he had to drive over an hour each way. And that added up a lot in the gas cost. Well, fortunately, right now, it's really nice that he can work closer to home. So we only have to count for about 10 minutes each way, and that saves a lot on gas. So living in a smaller community or in a situation where you're closer to your job can really make a difference on those gas prices. But the other thing is you can use these apps for discounts on gas. We used to have a Shell card, and that gave us discounts at the Shell stations. And we also had a Sinclair card, or I guess it's an app, the app for the Sinclair station, and that will save us money if we're near a Sinclair gas station. In addition, there's an app called the Upside app, and you can use the Upside app to get discounts on gas if it's in your area. So that helps for the gas, and save a little bit wherever you can, and try not to drive excessive amounts when you don't need to. So the other thing we can save on is the thrift stores. It makes a good place to buy clothing sometimes. Not everything, but sometimes you can find there's still clothes that have good quality and are nice. And if you have the time that you can browse a little, you can sometimes find a really good item of clothing. That helps a lot to save money. Get a good item for less. The other thing is to really try to get clothing that's not trendy and gonna be outdated right away. So sticking with some basics can help keep you from needing to buy new clothing all the time. So groceries is one of the biggest issues for a lot of people. The way to manage your groceries is to really watch your budget. If you don't watch your budget, you just can't keep it down. But when you're aware, sometimes just being aware makes it easier to stay in budget. So that helps on one income. We do a very detailed budget, and we use the app called Every Dollar by Dave Ramsey. So Dave Ramsey has a good program that helps you budget. It's fairly easy, and you just set it up, and then your information, put it in as you need to, or you can have it come in automatically if you pay for the app. You get the free version, you have to enter it manually. So we'd like to watch our groceries and other budget items on that app. But one of the things that I've tried recently that really helped was I started listening to some of these people on YouTube videos, and one of them was Frugal Fit Mom. So she has a channel where she teaches people how to budget on food and save money. So I followed her, paid attention, and I started watching what she did. Well, what she does is she shops the sales. And then when it's on sale, she'll buy extra. And then she'll meal plan using the sale items that she's bought. So she only has to buy a small amount of produce or other items perhaps, but not very many things. She just uses a few items that she has to buy to add to the meal to make a good meal plan. But for the most part, she buys it when it's on sale, thus saving her a lot of money. So I thought, well, I could try that. So I did. I started following that, and at first, okay, buying extra when it's on sale. Well, you have to watch the amount and think about how much you're going to use in a certain amount of time and not go overboard. But I would buy extra and then put it in a storage area. And then I would buy more the next week on sale again and put some in the storage area. And I noticed my storage supply of food was growing. Now this only works with food that's not perishable. And you have to consider how far out it has too. Like an item that has 2 years out, you can stock up a little more, just don't go overboard. But an item that has only 6 months from now, think about how much you could eat in 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months, and get that amount. But I started to do that, and I thought, well, I don't know if this is going to work. It might mean I'm just buying extra food. So I wasn't too sure if it was the right plan or not. But I kept at it. I thought we should try this at least a few months. And now I actually think it has been working, because I've discovered the amount of stuff that I need for a basic plan is a lot less than it used to be. That's amazing. So when I need to make food, I have a lot of it already. I have stuff I already bought on the previous sale. So some of the basics are well taken care of, slowly but surely over time, by just buying a little extra on sale. And that price difference can be fairly good. And the other thing with fresh produce is to also buy it on sale, but just the amount you need for the amount of time that produce will last. You know, if broccoli goes on sale, like it did last week, I bought extra broccoli, and we had more foods with broccoli in them. We didn't mind. And then what other vegetable was going on sale? We can use some of that too. So I've been surprised at how much it actually did make a bit of a difference. And then there's things that you have to buy. You don't have to. We like to buy them in bulk, like pinto beans, for example. It's going to be much cheaper if we buy at least a 5-pound bag than if we buy it already packaged in the can. But by buying a larger quantity, you can get a discount. So sometimes, depending on how much large quantity you need, some people benefit from Costco memberships. We do that because certain items we do buy in a large quantity. And other things we get from other places. Azure Standard is a place that has trucks that deliver, and they don't have to have lots of stores all over the country. So you end up saving the middleman of the store the amount that they would need by buying by buying it all from this other company. So Azure Standard has discounts on a lot of foods, and that works especially since we like to eat healthy to try to keep our health as much as possible. So we want to have a place that has good quality, and Azure Standard has a lot of gluten-free, a lot of other special diets, organic foods and healthy foods of many kinds that you can buy. Not always cheaper at Azure Standard, but often they are cheaper. So you can check on that. And then what else for groceries? Eating whole foods has been a really big thing. Like if you buy even just beans, you buy canned beans, and somebody just took the work to cook it and put it in a can, and it's going to cost you a lot more to get the same quantity. And the other thing is, if we make those beans at home and we learn how to make them well, which I've been doing a lot, then we make those beans at home, they taste so much better. And people even like them and compliment the beans. It's just simple beans. So that can really help your budget by eating fresh whole foods or from bulk whole foods. So even though we're on a budget, we have to get the nutrients that we need. And we're not in the poverty level where we have to sacrifice nutrients. We just have to get the nutrients in the best economical form that we can. And so we do eat healthy. We still eat fruit. Some people say, oh, fruit's expensive. But doctor bills are pretty expensive too. And so we'd rather not have to deal with the doctor bills. And we do stay pretty well by eating healthfully. So that's a really good thing. And it's a way to save money. So I really suggest Frugal Fret Mom. She's got a lot of good tips, and it really does seem to be helping. The thing I haven't been able to do very much lately is I'm not real great at meal planning. I do use what we have on hand, though. I've decided that when I put cans on the shelf to store them, I write the date, their expiration date. You know, the expiration date's always so tiny you find it on the bottom or stamped in a corner or in a funny color or a very small font. Well, when I find those expiration dates, then I write them with a marker on the can in the front, right near where it says the name of the product. I write the expiration date. That way, when I look at the can at a glance on the shelf, I know how soon it's expiring, and quickly I can see which one I need to eat first. So if there's anything that says, you know, like a month from now, I think, oh, I should use that. And then I plan something that I can use it for. So even if I'm not exactly planning my whole meal plan, I am looking at it and I am considering how soon to use certain foods. So that really helps. But yeah, I just really like it when I look in my cupboard. Oh, which one of these needs to be used sooner? And then I take the one that needs to be used the soonest, and I say, what can I make with cannellini beans? What can I make with tomato paste? What can I make with coconut milk? And that's what I can use for another food for the next day or two. Anyway, I'm trying hard to not waste as much food and to use it well as much as possible. We still waste some. It's just how it is with food, but we're trying to save it. Oh, one more thing I do with food is, let's say I open a can of coconut milk, and for my husband and I, we only needed to use 1/3 of the can. Well, we use 1/3 of the can, but we don't put the rest in the refrigerator. We put it in a bag and we put it in the freezer. That way we're not in a rush to try to use it up. We can use that item whenever we want. It'll last. It'll last for quite a while in the freezer. So that really, really helps. I do that with coconut milk, with tomato paste, with curry paste, with beans. I cook up a big batch of beans. We eat them out, the two of us can eat, and then we put the rest in the freezer. I do that with a lot of different things. Even if we cook some rice, it's not quite as nice as fresh rice, but it does work. You can put it in the freezer, use it later. You could use guacamole. Use some of the guacamole, put it, rest in the freezer, use it later when you need it. And salsa. I took a jar of salsa and I said, oh my, how are we going to eat this quick enough for the two of us? And we don't like to use foods that are going bad or that have been sitting around for a while because we have a sensitivity to foods getting old. Kind of a mold issue, sensitivity thing. But anyway, we just can't eat food that's been sitting in the fridge for a long time. So I put it in the freezer, and then we have our salsa. We take the salsa and let it thaw while we're making the rest of the meal that needs the salsa. Anyway, so these are some tips and tricks that I've found, and we'll still be willing to learn more. So if you have any more ideas, let us know. Maybe I've covered them all, but usually there's lots of things people do to help. In our area, we have a discount grocery store. One is called Grocery Outlet. Where we used to live, we had Aldi, but we don't now. So we just go to Grocery Outlet, and they won't have everything, but what they have is usually a pretty good price. I still compare because once in a while there's a better price somewhere else. But usually it's quite a good price, and so I like to find the items that I need and stock up from Grocery Outlet. The other thing is shopping the sales. As I said, this is just one more example, is I started using the Safeway app. Now, part of me doesn't like these little apps and gimmicks that have coupons and codes, and you have to figure everything out and try to watch it and budget it and everything. But I discovered with the Safeway app, it actually was helpful because some of their sales are actually pretty decent sales. And therefore, I can save a fair amount of money if I buy it that week and I have the coupon on my app. So just one more idea. I didn't really like it because I don't like, like I said, I just want a good price. Just leave it at that and not have to worry about it all the time. But I've come to realize, hey, if you save 25% off some items, that's a fairly good amount once in a while. So all these things have tried to keep us on our budget, and so far we are saving money. We're living in a small place, eating well, buying what we can that's good quality at a thrift store. We're using our gas wisely and finding discounts when we can. And, well, we can't beat inflation, but we can at least manage while we have it. So anyway, have a good day and let us know what you know about saving money.